One of the biggest stories in all the nation right now is this absolute wild takeover that's happening right now in the Democratic Party by this communists. They call themselves the Democratic Socialists, but let's be honest, they're communists, and they're very openly communist. This is a big difference from the Democratic Party of the past, which was communist, but they didn't want you to know it. And this has got them freaking out. See, in the Republican Party, MAGA has been taking over. And MAGA is very much the common sense aspect of Americans. MAGA, if you actually look at the policies we support, is actually very moderate. And yet they label us far right now. I always say that Trump took the best stuff from the left, which is like getting rid of free trade and embracing tariffs, stuff like that. They took the best stuff from the left and brought it over into the MAGA tent. And now we got the best of the right and the left in one area with MAGA, which all that leaves for the Democrats is communism. But they've been hiding it, or trying to hide it, I should say. We know, those who pay attention know. But I'll tell you that this takeover that's happening right now could be the beginning of the end for the Democratic Party. And it's also got them completely panicked that the midterms now are going out of reach. But Jesse Waters did a great segment on this last night, which I want to share.
School's out for summer. I'm sorry. Unless your last name is Nancy Pelosi. She's got summer school, Berkeley called Democracy Needs Saving.
Today is a very exciting day for me because today is the day Berkeley will be announcing the Nancy Pelosi Institute for Representative Democracy. My excitement about this springs from the fact that this will be totally nonpartisan. That's its value.
The problem? Well, her party already switched majors to communism. And the guy she left in charge isn't handling the news well.
There seems to be growing concern within the New York delegation that your endorsement doesn't hold the weight that it once did, that the mayors may perhaps carry more. Do you feel that's fair?
Who in the New York delegation has articulated that, since you're referencing growing concern?
So just as I would not.
So you don't have a name?
Well, I'm going to extend them the same courtesy that I would everybody else, but this question is about you.
Yeah. Well, you asked me a question making reference to particular members, but then you didn't cite a member.
Right, because they're conversations on background. But what is your response to that?
I don't have a response to that.
No response? Oh, the commies certainly have one. One of them's ready to coup Hips herself.
Can you see yourself voting for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker?
You know, I was really focused on my primary until just last night, and
Yeah,
but I do think that, you know, those are types of decisions that you have to really discuss with your community, right?
These people are nuts, and they are going to take them all out. Hakeem Jeffries in New York after this election was completely booed by all the DSA people, and they started chanting, "You're next." The only reason Jeffries survived this primary election is because Mamdani, who is the king of the New York commies, did not put somebody out there to primary him. That's the only reason Timu Obama still is in there. But they have no desire to play ball with this establishment. This is why they're freaking out. And this is why I don't believe this is part of the plan to let the commies take over. The outward commies, I should say. I don't believe this is part of the plan because these people are eating their own. They don't care. They will take down even the electable Democrats, all in the name of this communist ideology, this idealism. They don't care. They will burn it all to the ground, which is good for us because they're not big enough yet to burn our country to the ground, and they won't get in power enough to do so. But if they burn the Democratic Party down, it's only a win for us because it's going to set them back more as well, especially when we get hubs like New York City. See, Americans always reject communism when they finally face it. This has only been allowed to happen because of the managed decline of the last several decades, which has brought about a disruption and a disintegration of the middle class and has left the lower class people feeling hopeless, which allowed them to come into power. The problem is They haven't experienced how bad it is yet. Just wait till they get this New York experiment that they're all joining in so greedily happily right now. It's going to expose a whole lot. See, I'm not worried about this nationwide right now. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you guys when it's time to worry. I'll tell you when it starts spreading and they actually start knocking off people in purple areas or red areas. That hasn't even come close to happening yet. So I'm not worried. What I'm watching in fascination is how fast is this going to destroy the Democratic Party as it is. And I think it's starting to happen at a much accelerated rate.
The Commie Caucus is not contained. It's contagious. Worse than TDS, some say. And Colorado just tested positive.
Why do you think someone with no political experience, at least in the vein that she has, is resonating with people?
We're resonating with the voters because we're fighting for the things that they care about.
Her primaries tonight. Colorado's about to find out if they're really ready to go full commie.
She won by about 30 points. Just an update on that. So, but again, deep blue district, not purple, not a red district, deep blue. That's what they're taking over. And it's creating exposure. But again, New York and Colorado, still deep blue districts, but Colorado, the Democrats who control Colorado have to be much more moderate than the Democrats who control New York. And it tells you that even they're losing control of their people. That's why this is spreading like gangrene throughout the whole party.
A lawyer from Ethiopia who works as a barista in Denver and says we deserve 9/11. Is that what the Rocky Mountains need in Congress? We're watching, so's the rest of the country, and we'll have results later. Michigan's about to make up its mind. A Muslim communist is running for Senate. Here he is.
I've heard it said that you said when they go low, we choke them out.
I mean, their choice to go low. Don't go low. I'm just saying.
Pencil neck heard choke, took one look at his neck, and folded.
So I'm not afraid of new members or new ideas in the party. I welcome it.
Just like the border. They'll let anybody into the tent. Doesn't matter how much damage they do. Democrats, but they aren't actually allowed to decide for themselves. They were just told to repeat big tent.
Big tent means big tent.
We have to have a big tent.
We are a big tent party.
What makes our party a beautiful party is the fact that it's a big tent.
We are a big tent party.
Chris and Gillibrand's the Democrat.
That is the panic, folks. They don't have a way to fight back. They can't outright say, we reject this. They can't reject it because if they do, they will get eaten alive by their base. See, this is what happens when you make deals with the devil to get in charge. They've dealt with the devil. The devil is communism. They dealt with it. They embraced it. They embraced the insanity of transing the kids. They let those people take over. Then now they're letting the commies in, which they've always done, but it's spreading. See, Bernie, the stupidity of the Democratic Party by stealing Bernie's primaries. Okay, when Bernie in 2016 and 2020 would have won the nomination for the Democrats, they stole it from him twice. And in doing so, they infuriated the crazies. And those people just kept spreading, and they allowed Bernie to never be the true loser because the people never got to vote on him in the general election. And so that full rejection never happened. And now it's building popularity. But again, this isn't a problem nationwide yet. This is a problem only in the party, but it's a big growing problem and they know it. Now, calling them out for what they are is important. Spencer Pratt, here's Mom Donnie yesterday. They're trying to close down Rikers Island, famous prison in New York City. And Spencer Pratt, God bless him, is calling it out. Whenever I vowed to arrest bad guys, the pushback was always, you can't do that. There's no room in the jails. Communists close the jails. Then they can use the not enough jails excuse to never enforce the laws your city erodes. See the little commie magic trick? This is how you sneakily eliminate the laws that hold society together. You don't need legislature. You don't need erase laws. You just render them moot by making it practically impossible to ever enforce. That is the danger of these areas. This is what's happened especially in California, especially during COVID, like crazy. But this is the experiment they're going to deal with in New York. The good news is that we have people like Spencer Pratt and President Trump openly calling it what it is now. You see, we avoided that for a long time. We avoided calling them communists because the Democrats would fight back, the media would fight back, and people would not believe it. It actually was a detriment too, especially for the middle voters. It's like, you're going too far. They're not actually communists. Don't say that. No, I don't like that. I don't like that kind of politics. It's the same people who think Trump's too mean. So most people weren't willing to say it. The good news is that now by them forcing this out in the open, we can now call the spade a spade. We can identify it as communism, and it's going to keep waking people up. This is the person who won last night. And as Seth Ketchel writes, you should be pulling for the commie to make the suburbs of Denver wake up. Rare chance to make progress in a former stronghold gone to crap. He's absolutely right. Now, this is the guy, as I've told you many times, this guy understands our election system better than anybody I've ever found. He called the 2024 election to the T. He understands, he tracks voter registration. He's more accurate than any pollster has ever been. He's amazing at this, and he gets it and has been saying how this commie takeover is actually a very good thing for the Republicans as it wakes people up. And we are starting to see the Civil War grow in the Democratic Party. Here's John Fetterman, very upset at what's happening in the Democratic Party right now.
Neither one of us, we didn't really understand why we wouldn't do it. And now I watched that list of states that didn't provide a booth. Now they all seem like they were blue control kinds of states. I have no reason why they didn't to do it. But when it's, 250 years to celebrate America, why wouldn't you make sure that your state's going to be there? And now in turning it into owns about, no, there's not this or not this, whatever thing, patriotism is bipartisan. And I hate to see people arguing. And I see the polls of people in my party, I think it's maybe 30% of them roughly are insanely proud to be American, or they're proud of America. I am absolutely a Democrat. Everyone should be insanely proud to be American and grateful to be American, especially as now we're approaching our 250th birthday.
Why are they not showing up at the mall? Because their base won't accept it anymore. They're being beholden to that. But does that look good to independents? Does that look good to moderates? No, absolutely not. People want you to be proud of our country. They want Democrats to be a strong party that fights for things a little more big government, but they don't want them to hate our country. Unfortunately, the communists do. And Fetterman's been one of the only people calling out how crazy this is. Now, Peter St. Ong does a wonderful breakdown of what's happening with this rise of the Democratic Socialists.
Democratic Socialists are taking over the Democrat Party, throwing their remaining base under the bus after the party already threw out blue collars. Last week, Democratic Socialists swept all 4 Democrat primaries for congressional seats in New York, tossed in another 2 formal Democrat Socialists, according to prediction market Kalshi, plus a dozen fellow travelers like AOC and Rashid Tlaib, and Dems could be looking at close to 20 communists in Congress. Now, 20 is not a big number in a Democrat caucus of 200-ish seats, but sweeping the board is a big deal in politics. It's already got the blue poobahs in a panic. So first, what is a Democrat Socialist? Marketing aside, it's a communist. The official platform wants public ownership of corporations to seize the means of production. They want to, quote, abolish.
I love that. What's a Democratic Socialist? It is a communist. But like he said, see, everybody sees it who pays attention. He said the blue poobahs are freaking out. They're panicking. They know how bad this is for them. But remember, part of what we're seeing is actually them just showing us who they've already been. You see, the Democrats at the top, deep down, are communists. Everything they do is communist. From the censorship to the eroding of common values, of traditional values, to the growth of our government, trying to like nonstop spending, debt craziness, no choices, get rid of your guns. That's what they want. They've always been communist, at least for the last 30, 40 years since that group really took over, the Democrats at the top, but they've been hiding it. And the proof is that those still in power do insane stuff. Look at this. House Oversight Committee, 0 Democrats showed up for a discussion today on unaccompanied alien children. I wonder why. Because they all are part of the abominations going on at the border.
There's not one single Democrat here today. It just goes to show that they only really care about these kids when it fits their agenda. Dr. Saldusky, you are a trained criminologist, is that correct?
Correct.
How long have you been studying criminals, victims in our criminal justice system?
Over 26 years.
You said in your opening statement that you were able to interview a member of the Sinaloa cartel. I believe you said his name was Mr. Flores. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where did you interview Mr. Flores, Doctor?
So, Mr. Flores, I discovered him whenever I was researching his testimony. He's testified before Congress. He's also was a key witness.
They went on to, this whole thing was just breaking down the abomination of the hundreds of thousands of children trafficked across the border under the Biden administration. Of course, the Democrats can't be bothered to show up for that. Why? Because they want to subvert our nation. See, the Democratic Socialists, the commies, the outward commies, all they're doing is saying is they're just being honest. The other Democrats just won't be honest with you. They lie to get elected. They hide who they really are. The only Democrat that's still a patriot in all of Congress is John Fetterman. And he had to have a stroke to have his brain reset in order to get there. He is the only traditional Democrat left. All the rest of them have given into this. And they're freaking out because they know that if they're honest, nobody will show up. But this is what we do. We're going to keep exposing them so that they realize that those commies that are running, it's actually all of them. They just don't want you to know it. Here's proof of how it's been taking over the party. Here's my favorite New York Jew. Harry, tell them what's going on.
Interesting, and I would dare say a little bit nutty. How proud to be an American? You know, among Republicans, 93% are extremely or very proud. Just a single one, say they have little to no pride in being an American. But look over at the Democratic side. This is where we've seen this extremely or very number. It's been taking a tumble at 27%. Which is way different than the 93. You do the quick math with me here. What is that? That's a 66-point difference here in terms of extremely or very. But look at this. The little or no proud to be an American actually among Democrats eclipses, is greater than the extremely or very proud number. So we are just living in such a different universe if you're a Republican versus a Democrat on the basic fundamental question of being proud to be an American.
So for Democrats, has it always been thus?
No, it hasn't. You know, I mentioned this 36%, the little or no, actually outrunning the extremely or very. And I will note that this is the first time ever among Democrats in which this little or no actually eclipses the extremely or very. And look at this, back in 2001, look at this. The extremely or very, and this is pre-9/11, the extremely or very actually outran the little or no by 84 points. 84 points. Now the little or no outruns the extremely or very by 9 points. So what is that? 84-9. That is a 93-point switcheroo in 25 years among Democrats. Now more Americans for the first time ever more Democrats for the first time ever say that in fact they have little or no pride to be an American than extremely or very. And that is just very, very different from what we're used to seeing.
What changed since 2001? See, for the longest times, the Americans loved being Americans, even Democrats, all the way up till 2001. Almost 90%. They were galvanized around 9/11. George Bush had 90% approval rating. Wild stuff. That would never happen today, no matter what happened to our country. That's crazy. What's happened since then? Well, it all really started shifting under Obama. See, Obama made it cool to hate America. Michelle Obama being interviewed about proud to be American. I've never been proud of our country, she said. I've never been proud. We've never been excellent. President Obama started changing that. Why? He was a Manchurian candidate. He was sent to start eroding us. Now, it was already happening before. I'm not pretending the deep state didn't control Bush, Clinton, aspects of Reagan's administration, Jimmy Carter, going far back, all the way since 1913 is when it started. Woodrow Wilson, clearly globalist, clearly City of London type. It's gone back a long time. But Obama was their guy. He was the one that was coming. He was the chosen one, completely groomed by John Brennan to be the perfect candidate, to get in, say what he needed to say, and to seed the discord in his own party that would spread like wildfire and make it okay to hate our nation, make it okay to hate capitalism, make it okay to be racist again. He did all that, and he accomplished it a lot. Not fully. If he had succeeded fully, we never would have gotten Trump. If he had succeeded fully, I wouldn't be doing the show right now. I'd be blocked on YouTube, and Rumble probably would have been shut down. Just saying. X certainly wouldn't be owned by Elon. Trump is a key factor. The people coming out and saying, no more, we're done. But the damage is still there, and we still see the rot within the Democratic Party, what's left over. And this shows you it. Less than 30% of Democrats claim to be proud of our country. The greatest country on earth, who even in our worst times has been amazing. That's at least amazing compared to other countries, compared to most of world history. So to say that tells you how deep that rot has got in their brain and how far they have to go. Now, the good news is that the openness is going to get those Democrats who are proud to be American, they're going to start leaving the party by more and more. The Democratic Party is getting weaker and weaker. It's not getting stronger. Why do you think they're freaking out so bad? They had to, in California, they had to rig the Los Angeles election to make sure Spencer Pratt couldn't even make it to the general. Guys, that's panic. That's not control. That's panic. That's in California. The bluest of blue. They had to rig a blue city's election to stop a guy who's openly anti-communist, openly on the right, from getting in. They are losing control, not gaining it. And the Democratic Party continues to shrink as this happens. But as it shrinks, they will get more and more radical. I can guarantee that. Now, we're watching the frustration of this rise. Here is Mike Lawler. Mike is a rhino Republican. He is an establishment Republican. But as this next couple of clips is going to show you, even Mike Lawler is losing it with the Democrats because they have gone so insane. And this tells you a lot of where we're headed.
Back in May of 2023, over 3 years ago, Sheridan's murderer illegally entered the United States. Border Patrol caught him. They apprehended him. But then, because of the Biden administration's ludicrous open border policies, he was released into our country. A month later, he was arrested for shoplifting in Chicago. Under existing law and the law at the time, he should have been deported right then and there.
Point of order, this is not an introduction.
By our federal laws.
Point of order, this is not an introduction, it's a speech.
You should be ashamed of yourselves.
Mr. Chairman,
disgraceful.
Mr. Chairman, we have
ruling on the point of order.
Here,
Chairman.
precisely because you have failed to do your job.
Mr.
You wonder
Chairman,
why we had 4 hearings? It's because you don't understand the consequence of sanctuary policy.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, we won't give our approval for people to introduce their constituents if people don't stick to the rules. So I appreciate the chairman's insistence that we stick to the rules and that you have the opportunity to introduce your constituent, which I think you have done.
My constituent
so thank you very much, Mr. Lawler and Mr. Chairman.
Sharing the details of her death. You may not want to hear the details. It may be an inconvenience to you, but these details matter.
This is the Trump effect, where even establishment Republicans are starting to see they can't survive unless they go MAGA. And it got even crazier.
The same outrage you feel about Renee Good and Alex Preddy,
Mr.
you
Chairman,
should feel about Sheridan Gorman and Laken Riley and every Angel family in this country.
I do feel that outrage.
You do not. Because if you did,
do you
would
feel,
not support
do you
sanctuary
feel the
jurisdiction.
outrage about Alex Preddy and Renee Good? You should be ashamed. You don't belong in this committee.
Jamie.
You should get the hell out of here.
Disgrace.
You don't understand the rules of the committee. You don't understand the Constitution.
You're a disgrace.
Full of it.
Mr. Raskin, you're an absolute disgrace supporting sanctuary
Say one word about
Get rid of
Say one word about Alex Preddy and
I
Renee
did.
Good.
I wrote a whole New York Times op-ed about it. You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for not opposing sanctuary policies that resulted in their daughter's death.
That's Jamie Raskin. You see, we're not playing nice with these people anymore. Not even our establishment guys who are not MAGA. These guys aren't even playing nice with the Democrats anymore because they've gone so crazy. Lawler had a little bit more to say on this whole exchange. TMC, DC.
I got to ask you about what just went down in this hearing.
Yeah.
That was serious. I mean, you guys were like screaming at each other, you and Jamie Raskin, like, you should be ashamed of yourself. Why do you think it got like that heated? I mean, that was intense to watch.
Well, first of all, if you heard the opening statements of Pramila Jayapal and Jamie Raskin, it was absolutely outrageous. It was disgusting. And it insulted those Angel families that were sitting there. As Jessica Gorman just said in her testimony, they said, we're sorry for your loss, but. There's no but. Sanctuary policies are the reason their daughter is dead. How anybody can support allowing criminal aliens to stay in this country and prohibiting local and state law enforcement from cooperating with federal officials is beyond measure. Yeah. And for those folks that were rightly outraged at the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, they should be equally outraged at the deaths of Sheridan Gorman and Laken Riley. And I'm sorry, my Democratic colleagues are not. They are not outraged by their deaths.
Let's just talk about.
And that is the fundamental problem here. And frankly, Jamie Raskin and Pramila Jayapal are assholes.
Well,
and there it is. Call it like it is. I love it. I don't even like Mike Lawler. I don't even like him. He was trying to get amnesty basically for the Haitians. But I got to tell you, this is a good sign. All right. This is what we want to see. They don't put up with it anymore. This is good news. This is a good sign heading into the midterms. They are effing a-holes. I love it. And I got to tell you guys, this is the beginning. See, this is what happens. The commies are taking over, and even the establishment Republicans, many of them, can't deal with it. They're like, we can't go this far. Even we are maybe being turned back. We'll have to watch and see how it plays out. But the good news is that as this opens up, there's a lot of good happening towards the midterms that make me feel like we are going to wipe them out. And as they are getting weaker by destroying themselves from within their own party, here's some good signs coming. As political data here says, Republicans are beginning to unload their FU money. Well, look at this. Here's the fall reservations targeting congressional races, almost $1 billion. Of that total, 463 is targeting Senate races. Republican advertisers have 139 million more than Democrats. Look at this. You know what's helping this, by the way? The Supreme Court ruling that just happened that said you can't limit the money that goes into all this. This is very much on our side here. Mark Halperin, the ultimate fence sitter, the ultimate I can't choose a side, decent reporter, very annoying sometimes, but even he says this: because the Democrats raised less than $1 million donations because there's no Democratic Party analog for James Blair, who is in charge of Republican elections, especially in the MAGA perspective. In terms of portfolio influence, authority, and or coordination experience, this is likely to be a much bigger midterm advantage to Republicans than is currently thought by many. Yeah, you think so? This is how we win, guys. See, people were freaking out over a lot of what the Supreme Court did, and rightfully so. But it's not the end. They did do some good things, and if we keep winning these elections and we keep getting more MAGA because we're voting in the primaries, and then we get those MAGA people through, and the Democrats get weaker and weaker, I'm telling you, 2026, if the Democrats don't get in power, they might not see power again for a very long time based on the demographics heading forward. And the polls are getting a lot worse for them. Seth Keschel writes, amazing how we went from Peltola plus 7 or more in last month's fake polls to now a Sullivan lead. That's in Alaska. Reminder, Dems need to win 2 out of 4 of Iowa, Alaska, Ohio, and Texas if they won 4 out of 5 key races just to get a 50-50 split. In other words, it's almost impossible for them to get the Senate. Currently, we're winning in Alaska. We're winning in Iowa. We're not going to lose either of those. We're probably going to lose North Carolina because Whatley sucks and I live in North Carolina. Apparently, I live amongst a bunch of retarded people who still think Roy Cooper is a good guy after he was the governor during COVID, but whatever. And Ohio, we are winning. They basically have no road to the Senate if this happens. That's number one. That's good. The next thing is good is Trump is calling out and building up this whole communist push. And he did so again yesterday as he celebrated Tina Peters being free. And he writes, Free Tina became the rallying cry of the Republican Party over the past 2 years. Tina Peters came to the White House to thank me for getting her released from prison in Colorado, put there because she found election fraud. But instead of arresting people who committed the fraud, they arrested her. Gave her 9 years in jail. She served 2. Much time in solitary confinement along with hardened criminals and murderers. Now they've got the Republican Party into gear and she was released. By the way, he got her released. This was a state crime, so he can't pardon her, not legally. He still got a Democrat governor to pardon her and get her out. That's a big deal. Trump wielding power over the Democrats. Tina's 70, suffered a major bout with cancer. Hopefully, he's cancer-free. But what she went through should never happen again. Just think of it. She caught the Democrats cheating. They put her in jail for voter fraud. They didn't want her out there speaking to media. She knows that the voting machines are rigged. The mail-in ballots are a disaster, and our elections are very dangerous and corrupt at a time when, with the threat of communism, we must be very wise and careful. It was an honor to have lunch with her. I was fortunate my vote in 24 was too big to rig, but they tried. There wasn't a thing they could do about it, but not everyone's in that position. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There it is, calling out the communism, all the rigging. The person who knows where the bodies are buried, the behind the scenes, calling it out, is now free. Trump's having lunch with her. I'm telling you, there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we know. But again, the whole calling out the communism, calling out the voting machines, this is all going to lead somewhere. It's just a matter of time. Now, in regards to the SAVE Act, Tim Burchett is starting to talk about bringing J.D. Vance in as leader to get the SAVE Act through.
Thank you so much. Just want to get your thoughts on J.D. Vance going in the Senate to preside over the Senate to actually implement the talking filibuster. Is this a viable path forward to get the Save America Act passed?
Sure, it is. It's a scorched earth deal, though. I mean, because there's no turning back. It totally guts the phone. And who are we going to put in there behind him? That's always what you got to worry about is who's going to be the number 2. Yeah. It's not going to be somebody conservatives that votes like you or I would. I can guarantee you, because the Senate will just have their feelings hurt, and that's the way they'll do.
So what's the alternative?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm all for it. I don't care. I'm all for it. I'm a scorched earth kind of guy.
I love it.
As we say in East Tennessee, scorched earth, ERF.
Okay, so can you talk to J.D. Vance then to get this done?
Maybe I have.
There we go. Little insight there. Are they finally going to pull that? Or is this just, a little kayfabe? Who knows? I don't know. But constitutionally, they can do it. If you get J.D. Vance there overseeing the Senate, well, here's what J.D. Vance thinks about the SAVE Act.
The president has been laser focused on getting the Save America Act passed. And you're right, we actually have the majority of Senate Republicans who will support it. I actually don't think the problem that they have is with the Save America Act legislation itself. The problem that they have, with all due respect, is that they're worshiping dying institutional norms when the Democrats are in fact bragging that as soon as they get control, they're going to throw that stuff aside and make it so much harder for Republicans to even win elections. So what some of these Republicans are saying is they don't want to give up on the norm of the filibuster, this sacred Senate institutional norm that a few senators are obsessed with, including, of course, Mitch McConnell. The problem, Laura, is that Democrats themselves are saying the minute that they get power, the filibuster is going out the door. So unilaterally submitting and surrendering as Republicans when Democrats are openly bragging that they're going to get rid of the filibuster, it's just handing your enemy a weapon that they're going to use to strike you down. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. But that's why we frankly have to get better senators in there in the future.
Yeah, you've been following what's going on with the Democrat.
Keep hammering it. Keep hammering it. At some point, there comes a tipping point if the American people, especially on the MAGA Republican side, push hard enough and all of them worry about losing their seats, Thune, etc., we could get this pushed through. If Vance comes in, if they pull that nuclear option, that'll be very interesting. It's never been done before. Will Trump do it before the midterms? I don't know. Because it's so crazy. It'd be such a change. It might shock people away from voting. And so I'm trusting Trump's gut instincts on this. But after the midterms, anything is possible. Anything's go. And so keep your eyes open for this. In the meantime, I'm trusting that there's enough in place to make sure the midterms go well. And one of the reasons I believe that is because 2024 went well for us with the Democrats in charge. And I keep hammering that home because we cannot forget, guys, anybody who thinks the midterms are going to be worse, do you really think they didn't go all out to stop Trump in 24? Do you honestly believe that? I don't know what to tell you if you believe that, but they weren't able to do it. Do you think they have more power now? I just don't see how that's possible. Leading up, here's more on the convention. It's now official. Republicans are having a convention for the midterms. Never been done before. This is actually a very big deal. September 9th and 10th in Dallas, Texas. Trump, here's what he says. Big news. First time ever, Republican Party will hold a midterm convention. It'll be in Dallas, Texas, one of my favorite places in the world. It'll be fantastic. Never done before. Truly historic event. We're going to celebrate the great American comeback, the incredible successes of the American people who transformed our country through the America First agenda. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, stronger borders, safest ever communities, lower costs, real affordability, more jobs, and American energy dominance, so much more. All prices dropping sharply even as we denuclearize Iran. Delivering on the promises politicians talked about for decades never got done. At the event, we'll have hardworking Americans, our great innovators, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, first responders, and job creators who are powering our nation's golden age, proving America's best days are ahead of us. We'll also have lots of great entertainment. It'll be a rally like none other. Our birthday's approaching. Together, we're building a foundation for the next 250 years of American greatness. Dallas will take center stage on September 9th and 10th as we celebrate our nation, our achievements, and our bright future. The golden age of America has only just begun. This will be... The Democrats don't have the money to put on a convention. So by Trump doing this, you understand every convention in presidential years always brings with it a bump because you soak up all the media attention for the days of the convention. Americans listen to your message in ways they haven't heard before. You get to experience the inspiration of your candidates. You get that connection to them. You hear the vision they have, and you do it in a controlled setting where it's very effective, and polls bump because of that. In the past, it's usually a wash because you each get a convention. But this time, there won't be a Democrat convention. The Republicans will have all the attention with Trump, having all these people coming up. Finally, it won't be just people watching my channel getting a lot of the news of what's going on. This is going to happen here in front of everybody. That's a big deal. The other big deal is, why is it a convention and not a rally? Did Trump just use the language to get people to watch? Or are they actually going to have new people appointed as nominees? Because usually in a presidential year, you have a convention so that you can choose the nominees for your party. That's one of the reasons you don't do it in midterms. Is that a potential? I don't know. But we're going to find out one way or the other. It's going to be huge. And so as all this is going on, guys, it's pretty clear that Trump has a plan to win the midterms. It's trending in the right direction. As Trump is doing all this, as his approval is going up, as gas prices are going down, as the economy is starting to heat up, the Democrats are eating their own. And so I'm very excited about where we're going. I believe this whole commie takeover is a very good thing for us. They are freaking out about this. Republicans are starting to wake up, even in like Mike Lawler, what I just showed you. And then we still got a long way to go. July 4th, the World Cup's still going on. By the way, go USA tonight. We're playing, who are we playing tonight? I know we're in the elimination round though. And so go USA. Still got the World Cup going on here in America. Been wildly successful. 250th, a convention coming up. The momentum is just, it's all hitting at once. And you can kind of see how Trump has weaved this all together so that we could smash the midterms and shock the world. And that, after that, I don't know what the Democrats have left. They're going to try. It's going to be fascinating. But again, they're putting everything on this midterms because they never thought they'd lose 24. They got swept in 24. This was supposed to be their comeback. Ride the anti-Trump hate. Ride the disappointment that things aren't happening fast enough. Ride all that. Sweep back into the midterms and get hope for your future. We take the midterms, we take away their hope. Because 28 right now is a disaster waiting to happen for them. And it's only going to get much worse depending on what happens in the midterms.